Good evening. How's everybody doing? Pumped up to chat with everyone. We are live. We're live everywhere, all over the place. I'm pumped up to be able to chatting with everybody. We've got the Anxious to Action Challenge coming up soon, and we're live for the holidays. So I thought that I would hop on here briefly and have just a quick conversation with some people about what's going on. What are you guys doing for the holidays? Did you have a fun Christmas? Do you celebrate Christmas? If you don't celebrate Christmas, what do you celebrate? Just want to hop on here. The holidays can be a hard time sometimes for people. So I want to make sure that I was able to hop on here and just kind of have some fun with people. Answer some questions. That's the biggest thing. We've got an Anxious to Action Challenge coming up. Should be a fun time. In the next, it starts Wednesday. So if you haven't checked that out, go to our profile and click the link in our bio. But otherwise, I would love questions. What questions do y'all have about anxiety, the neuroscience of anxiety, narcissistic abuse effect on the brain? What do you got? Ask me some questions. It's your time to shine. Lou Davis, what's up, everybody? Stopping by to say hello. Whoa, what's up, Mario? Freaking animal. We need to get a coffee on the books. It's been too long. Hopefully you had a good Christmas. First one as a mom. Mario's on LinkedIn. Still crazy to see Walker and not Martinez, but I digress. How do I know if my mate is a narcissist? Well, most of the time, you don't question that if there's not something there. So Shelby, give me some examples of some of the things that your mate that you believe might be a narcissist. Give me some examples of some of their behavior. Hi, Rose here. I have attracted to narcissistic men. I am attracted to narcissistic men. Why? It's a great question. It's a pattern. It's a belief that gets stuck in our heads. A lot of the times when we're younger, it's a rule that we make. Sometimes as a defense mechanism, it's a protection mechanism, whether it's people-pleasing, empath, controller, fixer. There's tons of different reasons why, but it's a belief that gets stuck in your mind, and you get stuck in the cycle, the abuse cycle. And so you start to not even be able to be in a healthy relationship without thinking that or feeling like it is an abusive relationship or it's healthy. So like a healthy relationship could get boring. So that's why you may be attracted to narcissistic men. There's a young version of you in there that might be attracted to them. All right, let's see. Cam and what's up, Miss Hollis? Nice to see you too. What are some of the ways to help anxiety during the winter? Anxiety and depression, light. L'Oreal, it's one of the biggest ones during the winter. Seasonal depression or seasonal affective disorder. People talk about it a lot, but I've got so many lights right now. Getting light in your eyes in the morning is one of the biggest things that you can do. Tons and tons of light. Vitamin D supplements can help as well. Life Force is the supplement brands that I suggest. They have amazing ones to help you get extra light in the winter. And then naming your anxiety is another great tool that I use a lot. So the people on TikTok, Mario asked, what are some ways to help with anxiety during the wintertime? The two tips I gave already are light and vitamin D. The next one would be naming it. It's so dark right now. I feel you. It is. Sunlight's good for you though. Getting out and about and around people as much as you can. I know still some of the COVID stuff and all the stuff, whatever, but your brain is made to socially connect, care and connect. So that's another way that you can start to help with anxiety during the winter. And then the other one is naming your anxiety. I was getting into that one, but being able to name your anxiety is another great way to get a hold of it during the winter, because that changes your relationship with it. So from being this random scary thing into like a friend, maybe, and start to understand it's a part of you. Anxiety is a part of you that is trying to protect you in some way, but it's not doing it's a scary way to protect you because it doesn't feel very good. So if you can start to build a relationship with that piece of you and start to understand like what it's scared of, ask it that question, like, what are you afraid of? If you didn't make me anxious, what are you afraid would happen? Right? And ask it that. Start to listen to it. Ask it some questions after you name it. So, all right. Questions. My loyalty keeps me from getting my license via excuses. Tells me he doesn't help with kids, so he doesn't mess up. Calls my business a hobby. Yeah, okay. I feel you. I feel you. That's a scary one, Shelby. Absolutely. If not narcissistic, because narcissism, people get this a lot. People can have narcissistic traits without being a narcissist. So you got to be careful with that. If you're being emotionally abused, like it sounds like you potentially are, that still is bad, whether or not they are a narcissist or not. So it sounds like you feel like you are being emotionally abused. So absolutely, step one, go no contact. You can get away if you can. So that'd be huge. Delilah, what did you study for your undergrad? Neuroscience, cognitive behavioral neuroscience is what I studied. It's a great tool and asset that I use a lot. I continue my studies even today. I love them. Psychoneuroimmunology, cognitive behavioral therapy, internal family systems, somatic experiencing. There's tons. I appreciate your question. Any other questions? We had a great Christmas with the baby. Hey, nice. How's everybody doing? What's everybody doing for New Year's? What are you guys doing for New Year's? We got some, maybe not New Year's for everybody, but anybody doing anything fun? Otherwise, ask other questions. We got anxiety, anxious action challenge is coming up. If you guys haven't checked out the anxious action challenge already, there's a link in our bio for it. It's starting on the 28th. It'll be fun. We're doing it for the beginning of the year. Help you guys go from anxious to action. It's kind of in the title, but we'll be going over brain tools for beating and battling anxiety. It'll be a fun time. If you haven't checked that out already, I highly recommend it. Questions. Thank you guys for joining. Trump, Michael, nice to meet you guys. What do you guys? Cool. What was cool? Tell me what was cool. And ask me a question. I'm curious. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the anxious action challenge. I'm pumped up and excited about it. Hi, welcome. Do you have a question? Yvonne, tell me the anxiety to action. It is a fun time. We just did our first one last 2 weeks ago. It was awesome. Had a great group in there. We go live every single day in the group. It's a fun time. It's a close-knit group where we have a conversation about anxiety, how to battle it, what to do, get into action around it. 5 tips from our programs. We have full programs. We do it with people, and I work with people in private coaching, all sorts of stuff. And we talk about some of the things we do in those groups in the Anxious Action Challenge. So if you haven't already, go check that out. Link is in our bio. It'll be a fun time. I have so much trauma, I don't think I'll ever heal. Danny, I promise you, it is possible for you to heal. I promise. If you don't believe me, DM me, and we can talk about it. But I promise you that you can heal. The first step is, in relation to traumas, establishing healthy habits, patterns, routines within your body, especially after trauma, especially if it's emotional. I'm on it. How do I start? With your body first. So your body holds your brain and your brain holds your body. So in relation to trauma, a lot of it's stored in your body, 80% of which is stored in your body. And so being able to go bottom up is the recommendation that I give to most people, starting with your body. So habits, patterns, routines within these 6 areas. Are you ready, Danny? Something for your mind every day: your sleep, exercise, nutrition, social connection, and play. Those 6 areas, having healthy habits, patterns, routines in those 6 areas will really, really help you heal your body, which holds your brain. So then your brain's getting healthier. And then once your brain is healthier, the stuff that's in your mind, so anxiety, stress, depression, memory loss, brain fog, mood swings, insomnia, all those things that happen because of the trauma, you can start to have a different relationship with them. And you can start to do some of the work. So some of the stuff that we do with people, once they've started to heal their body, is like internal family systems. So mapping out the systems and the people and the groups and the things that you have in your brain, in your mind, in your psyche. Managers, firefighters, exiles, things like that. So that's how I would start, Danny. And then check out our Anxious Action Challenge. Why not? That'd be a great place to start. Or DM me. I'd be happy to help. All right, got another question from Facebook from Kate. What is it? I've used your recommendation of humming for times when I feel anxious. I've used it to help a few of my sons when they are feeling overwhelmed. Hell yes. I'm happy to hear that. Humming stimulates your vagus nerve, which allows you to turn down your sympathetic response. I'm glad you're able to use that. Does it work for complex PTSD? Does what work for complex PTSD, Lori? Appreciate your question. I see CPTSD a lot, though. A lot of people don't know the difference between CPTSD and PTSD. So, but what does it work for what? All right. How do you heal with triggers after narcissistic abuse? Okay, so starting to map your triggers. How do you heal with triggers after narcissistic abuse? So again, what I said for Danny, going bottom up, starting with your body is the first thing. Then starting to map some of the triggers. A lot of times triggers are protectors, or what I call protectors, that are trying to tell you something important, and being able to listen to those triggers and hear them out and become friends with them, which sounds kind of crazy, but once you realize that you are made up of many parts and these parts have your best interest in mind, it becomes a little bit easier. So start to develop a relationship with those triggers. That'd be the first thing. And then some of the stuff we talk about in the Anxious Action Challenge are great tools for that. So I would suggest you check that out at the links in our bio if you want to check that out. After narcissistic abuse, I am high functioning, don't drink, sleep 8 hours a night, but my sorrow is consuming. Okay, so sorrow is an exile, Danny. So everybody, right, has different parts. We're all made up of different parts. And exile is one of those types of emotions that is so powerful and it consumes us, that we have to push it down, shove it away, and try to stay away from it. And then we can create protectors, managers and firefighters, to keep that exile at bay. Sorrow or grief or intense sadness is a type of exile. And so being able to start to navigate what that is huge. Monica, yes, it is. One single time. It'll be a fun time. One time, 8 hours a night. Being able to socially connect is a big one too, Danny. That's why the Anxious Action Challenge is actually in a group. Not to keep bringing that up, but I put a lot of time in building that. So the being able to care and connect with your brain is huge as far as healing as well. So don't drink. I'm glad you don't drink. It's not good for your brain at all. All the money in the world to get help. That works. Hell yeah. I'm happy to hear that. Not everybody is that willing, Danny. So jump into the Anxious Action Challenge in that case. We also have I have a consultation. If you want to do a direct one-on-one private consultation with me, you can do that too. So can you talk more about sorrow and exile, especially when spiraling and not able to ask for help? So exiles are emotions or emotional states. They get created when we're younger, and something so intense happens that we can't deal with it outside of our control. So there's something called the 8 C's of self, and so everybody is born curious, confident, calm, connected, courageous, clear, connected, confident. All the 8 C's of self. I've got them written right here. That's why I was looking. And so when something happens outside of our control, an exile could get created, especially if it's traumatic, could get created. And so we lock that exile away and keep pushing it down. And then we create these protectors, managers and firefighters. So managers are the parts of us that are future oriented. They're trying to protect us all the time and trying to predict the future. So they try to control every single thing right now. So they're the inner critic, they're the pleaser, they're the controllers, the fixers, the external critic, where you start to get fired up, you're like, oh, screw you, type of thing, right? So those are managers. They're trying to control everything so that you don't ever feel the emotion. Their motto, a manager's motto, is never again. Never again will I feel that shame or guilt. Never again will I be rejected or abandoned. Never again will I feel that sad or angry, right? So that's the manager. Firefighters are the dopamine addicts. So whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol or high dopamine type activities, those are firefighters. And so their motto is react and distract. And so when you're thinking about managers and firefighters, those are 2 types of protectors that are trying to keep exiles away. Exiles are hard because when you're spiraling like you're describing here, it can get scary. Exiles are like terror, horror, shame, guilt. Shame and guilt are huge. Abandonment, these super, super, super powerful emotions. Grief is another huge one. Sadness, deep, deep grief and sadness are other types of exiles that we try to keep away. Do you have any resources with all these points? I'd love to write them down or learn more about it. Yeah, you can DM me our Anxious Action Challenge. I don't know if you were on here when I was talking about it. We have an Anxious Action Challenge coming up where we actually give you these resources. We give you recordings. We give you all sorts of stuff. It's coming up on the 28th. It starts on the 28th. So I highly recommend you check that out. That's one thing you can go do. It's in our, yeah, for my client, I'm a psychotherapist. Hell yeah. Okay. Oh my God, you will love this thing. I will, if you DM me for sure, I'll get you some of that. Our Anxious Action Challenge will be fun too, though. You could maybe learn some things because we'll go over a lot of neuroscience, but DM me for sure, and I will send you a ton of stuff. And we can even hop on a call because we're always looking for other partners and things like that as well that we could work with. But this is just really quick. Since you're a psychotherapist, I would highly recommend you checking out No Bad Parts, the book. It's amazing. DM you. Thanks so much. Hell yeah. No Bad Parts, the book, though, before you leave. Check that book out. It's by Richard Schwartz. He's the founder of Internal Family Systems. You'll freaking love it. I promise. Peace, love, and light to you. Thank you. Reiki by Light. Peace, love, and light to you as well. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? What do you guys got? What do you guys got for me? Boom. Hell yeah. I'll talk to you soon then. How are we doing, everybody? We've been talking a lot about trauma, healing trauma, anxiety specifically, but is the aim to get rid of the exiles? Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Kat. Is the aim to get rid of exiles? No. Exiles want to be unburdened, right? So these exiles are young parts of you that want to feel love, compassion, care, connected. They want to feel those things again. They got exiled because their emotions are so powerful. So like terror is super powerful emotion. It takes you over, right? But they want to become back in unison with all of the other parts. Like they don't want to be locked away. They want you to come to them and have conversations with them. You've got to be very careful though. Exiles, having a conversation with exiles without having a conversation with protectors can get kind of dangerous. Could be potentially. So what you really, really want to be able to do is start to build relationships with your protectors first, and then start to have a conversation with exiles. And I highly recommend doing this kind of stuff. Like there are specific scripts and specific processes to go through to have these conversations. So if you would like to talk about your exiles or your protectors or things like that, please DM me and I would be happy to work through some of the stuff with you. Trying to talk to an exile by yourself can be a little bit scary, a little bit dangerous at times. So please reach out to us and have a conversation with us. I'd be happy to chat with you because you're not trying to get rid of them. You're trying to release them and let their energy flow back to self. That's the biggest thing you're trying to do. I work in social services and especially with young people and after from exposure to trauma. Damn, that's some deep work that you're doing there, Danny. I would imagine some of the stuff you might be working through. I wonder if you're an empath, I wonder if you know how to block and like defend your energy or release some of the stuff that you might take in. Sharon, just found you. Hell yeah. Welcome. So it's like trying to get you to connect to your inner child to heal the trauma. Essentially, kind of, yeah. Look at it's like, so internal family systems is based on tons of stuff, but attachment theory is a piece of it. And what it suggests is that you have a self, capital S, self. And that self is the parent of all the parts, essentially. And it's like the shepherd of all the little parts that are inside of you. And these little parts of you are younger versions of you that made rules with their young nervous system, because these parts have to make rules fast, because you have to become an adult. You have to become a human fast relative to your maturity. And so you have all these young parts that created these rules with young nervous systems, and they were trying their best. They were trying their best to help you out and make a rule that was good for you. So like talk creativity, right? A lot of people shove their creativity down or their confidence down because they come home and they have an art project and their mom's like, oh, that sucks. Do your homework, go play basketball, play whatever it is. So their creativity gets shoved down, and that piece of them is locked away in an exile of abandonment or shame or guilt type of stuff. And so that younger part of you is trying to help you out, but it got trapped or stuck, or something external happened that you couldn't control, the self couldn't control. And so now what the self has to go do is start to form relationships with these parts, exiles, managers, the protectors and the exiles. So managers, firefighters, and exiles. And when you can do that, you'll find, and I have found when I work with people, that these parts want to be unburdened. They don't want to do these things to you. They want to be released. They want to have a fun time. They want to be there for you. And so that is a humongous piece of what I would suggest when you're looking at that kind of stuff. So that's what you're trying to do in relation to inner child. I am working on self-parenting. Beautiful. I love that. I'm going to see family I haven't seen in forever, a year, and keep running scenarios, negative talk in my mind. Okay, so that's a advice. Okay, beautiful. So that's a protector for sure. That's a manager that's trying to protect you. It's trying to run all these scenarios. Ask this protector, if you would, just for a moment, ask the protector what its biggest fear is in relation to these scenarios and this stuff. Like, what's its biggest fear? Ask the part of you that's running and anxious, has all the negative talk and stuff. Ask that part of you what its biggest fear is in relation to this, and then comment it or drop it in here. How can I tell if my trauma or my partner might be a narcissist? Drop, let's see, Aurora. I don't know how to say your name. I apologize if I just butchered that. But what you should do is drop some of the behaviors that they're exhibiting in this chat, and I'll let you know. But it's really, really hard to tell if they're a narcissist without like getting a clinical diagnosis. I went no contact, but got hoovered today. That's not good. What happened? Tell me more about this, Sharon. What if you don't have protectors? So the part of you that believes you don't have protectors or is scared that you don't have protectors is a protector. I am an empath, but this year has been harder than I've experienced. So I am an empath. So the empath inside of you, Danny, is a protector. The pleaser inside of you is a protector. So we all have protectors. I have protectors. Everybody has protectors. I promise you have them. We can chat about them. As an empath, how do you block taking on others' negative energy? So that's a great question. Being able to be in yourself. So again, there's something called the 8 C's of self. Okay, so thinking of curious, the self is curious, compassionate, calm, connected, creative, courageous, clear, and confident. If you are not one of those 8 things, one of your parts is taken over and you're taking on some of the energy of the people around you. And so being able to get back to self, if you do happen to take the energy of someone else or get involved in what's going on there, then you, once you're out of that situation, what you want to be able to do is get back to self, right? And ask the parts of you that are taking over, hey, would you just have a quick step back for a minute and just have a conversation about, and let me have a conversation with what's going on here. Just ask your parts, can you just relax for a second? I promise I've got this. You being the self, which can really help you a lot. Wisconsin girl, what is your degree in? Cognitive behavioral neuroscience. Chloe, fear is not being understood, being judged, an angry explosion leading to ending the visit. Fear is not being understood, being judged, an angry explosion leading to ending the visit. Okay, so that's an outcome. And if you have to leave the visit, then what? What happens then? He left me for a new supply. Now he comes back to me for support as I am the empath. What have you tried as far as going no contact and staying no contact? You might be stuck in a trauma bond potentially. Tell me if you've heard of that, Sharon. He keeps saying they are bored, but doesn't want to do anything, but it makes me feel like they are. Help me understand what you're talking about there. Putting their boredom on me, anything they do on their own accord for me, they complain about. Help me understand that. I'm new here. Hello. What's up, Shauna? I don't know if I said your name right. I apologize if I got that wrong. I have diagnosed CPTSD. I have diagnosed CPTSD. I have often very scary, although unrealistic nightmares involving terror. Yep, that's an exile. So being able to jump into anxious to action challenge would be super helpful. So the first thing I would suggest, if you're trying to handle some of these things, is jump into the anxious to action challenge. It's on our profile. Go to the link in our profile. Number two would be book us time with me. I'll be happy to talk to you about what's going on here. If you don't know what the difference between CPTSD is and PTSD, PTSD is like a moment, like you're at war and something traumatic happens to one of your friends right next to you. PTSD, it's a moment. CPTSD is typically from repeated exposure over time. Narcissistic abuse, emotional abuse, domestic violence, all these types of things are all of these types of things are what can lead to CPTSD. I just skipped through. Okay, putting the border. Thank you so much. Make sure to share this. People get some more people on here. Thank you. Anytime. Is that related to an exile? Is what related to an exile? I was so stressed out and I had a Tia. He's trying to control me more. Tell me more what you mean. I am stuck in a trauma bond. It's like an addiction. It is literally an addiction. A trauma bond is literally an addiction. It's love, hope, and fear. That's the loop that you're stuck in. You're classically conditioned to love, hope, and fear. So the fear happens during the abuse or the trauma. The hope is that it will get better in the future, and the love happens afterward when you make up. And so you get addicted to trauma or the terror or the abuse leading to like love or oxytocin, right? And so you're getting like classically conditioned. It's the craziest thing ever. So it's literally an addiction. How long does it take to calm your nervous system after an emotionally abusive relationship? It depends how much work you're willing to put into it. So I've taken people 84 days is the minimum. That's how long it takes to recreate a neural network in your brain. But sometimes it takes longer, 6 months, 12 months. It just depends on how quickly your nervous system is willing and ready to release some of this stuff. It's not easy work necessarily always. It can be really tough to manage and talk to some of these exiles. But you can start to heal your nervous system bottom up very, very quickly within a couple of weeks of starting to do the right things for your mind, your sleep, your exercise, your nutrition, your social connection, your play, those 6 areas. If you start to get habits, patterns, routines in those areas, in a couple of weeks, you can start to decrease the amount of inflammation in your body and your brain, which will really, 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 really help your mental and emotional health after an emotionally abusive relationship. And some of the deeper work, like the anxiety, the trauma bond, the depression, the grief, the cognitive dissonance, some of those types of things can take a little bit longer. It really varies. If you're curious though, reach out, DM me. I'm happy to talk more about it, or check out our Anxious to Action Challenge. It's 4 days. This week we're doing it. It's starting in 2 days. I'm pumped up. We just did the first one. It was awesome. Had a ton of great people. It'll be a fun time. So check that out if you haven't already, because that's a great way to start healing after an emotionally abusive relationship, to continue to action. But otherwise, DM me. Check out check out the Anxious Action Challenge. Wisconsin girl, is that a master's degree? Thinking about getting my MSW for counseling? No, it is not a master's degree. So I went the coaching route more. As far as like therapy, I prefer coaching because I can work with more people. I have clients all over the world. I don't have as much red tape when I'm trying to help people. At the end of the day, the company I run is an artificial intelligence company, actually. And so we work with people through like brain-based programs, and we partner with therapists and doctors and PhDs and researchers and all sorts of cool stuff. But we're the data side and the AI side to really start to create some of these tools for people who are to really help people like therapists and stuff with triage and really help more people with like natural language models where you can text, hey, I'm struggling with anxiety, and it can talk to you back and take you through family systems or a somatic experiencing tool or a cognitive behavioral therapy tool and things like that. So I didn't go for the master's. I went and did tons of training in these different modalities. So you can get certifications and I think I've done like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 hours in some of these things to be able to work with them as opposed to doing the master's. Hello, help, happy to help. Hey, go Chiefs. Hell yeah. Freaking love it. Examples of what my partner does, like narcissism. I don't like the conflict, experience depression in the past because of issues with them and distance. Chloe, DM me. I'll talk with you about this. Happy to help. I don't like what are your thoughts on DBT, dialectic behavioral therapy? I think it's amazing. I think it's great. I use it a lot. The mindfulness piece of it is huge. Becoming observing and becoming aware of some of these habits, patterns, routines, your identity, your life, your feelings, thoughts, actions. Like I love it. I use pieces of it. Sometimes it and CBT can get a little bit shamey and guilty, like making people feel like, you're thinking that way, I can't believe it type stuff. So that's more CBT sometimes, but it's all in how the tool, who's using it essentially. So I've found some success with it. I really like internal family systems and somatic experiencing, cognitive behavioral neuroscience, those types of things. Oh my God, I've never heard of that. Yes, Danny, that's what I have. I'm glad you showed up today, Danny. Please, if you haven't already, I can't tell, you reach out or not to me, please reach out and DM me and we can help you through that. So CPTSD, complex PTSD, search that. You'll find some cool stuff about it. The Anxious Action Challenge is really, really good at helping people after with that, start healing your brain after that. Oh, is it like chronic PTSD? I think I might have that. Okay, Alexia. So it's not chronic PTSD, it's complex PTSD is what it is. So yes, that's me. I wanted to stop. Jesus Christ loves you. Wants a relationship with you. Thanks. Thanks, yo boy, Billy. Where do I start? So I would start with, again, healing your body first, then going to your mind. The Anxious Action Challenge, links in my bio, is a great way to start. That's a great place to start. And then being able to start healing, again, your body with really, really healthy habits, patterns, routines. And who the fuck are you? That's the biggest question you got to answer after emotional abuse and these types of things. That's hard because it crushes your identity. You got to become a new version of yourself. Your identity, like yours, like who am I? Like who are my friends? What are my habits? What are my routines? What are these things that I want to do? And how do I do them? That's one of the biggest questions you got to ask when you're thinking about where to start. Practical exercises for releasing or for trauma release. So there's a protector interview that I do in the Anxious Action Challenge. It's a really, really good way to release trauma. Another really good way is to shake, get your body moving, exercise, yoga. These types of things are really, really good ways to start to release some trauma. So I recently realized my husband of 30 years is a narcissist. I have since been so anxious in his presence. Yeah, I feel you. That would make the best of us anxious. So I feel you on that. I'm sorry. What is your name? My name is Cody. Barb Lightfoot. My name is Cody. Thank you. They call me on a walk that I went on. Tells me in 30 minutes, Coco will be ready. Hell yeah, I love Coco. Welcome, Barb. DM me if you've got more questions. We also have Anxious Action Challenge coming up. I'm always nervous about his mood. Oh yeah, that's absolutely stay shell. Yeah, I feel you. That's terrifying. Jen, what's up? Hello. Can I DM you if you haven't added me? Yes, you can. You can DM me, I promise. Try it out. You can do it. Allie, I need help bad. Beautiful. DM me or check out the Anxious Action Challenge, Allie. It's going to be a fun time. It's in our bio. Check that out. Highly, highly recommend it. I keep choosing the same abusive narcissistic guys. Trauma bonds. Reiki by light. Yeah, I feel you on that. That's a hard one. The being able to change that pattern, you got to become someone new. That's why we call a lot of our stuff Me 2.0. You got to become the next version of yourself to recreate the identity you've fired and wired together. Every single day, you feel, think, and act over and over and over and over, right? And 95% of what you feel, think, and act today was the same as yesterday and the day before, and the day before. That wires and fires together an identity. That identity is what predicts your behavior, right? So Reiki by light, let's just call you Reiki. Reiki by light. Your brain's always asking, what would Reiki do? What would Reiki do? What would Reiki do? And so that's what you really, really have to shift your identity to be able to get out of those narcissistic abuse cycles. I have a grandson named Cody. Do you give advice on how to handle situations we're having a problem with? Possibly. Happy to try. If I can give you advice, I will. Cody's a great name. Regular, like, thanks so much. Why do they call you narcissistic? It's defense mechanism. So sometimes it can be reactive abuse. right? So reactive abuse is you're being abused so much that you're in your own fight or flight. You're in a fight reaction, but you've been getting abused and abused and abused. And so it's called reactive abuse, when the abused abuses, right? Abuses, but they'll do something that a narcissist or whatever will say, oh, you're the abuser. But it's because you've been getting abused over and over and over and over and over. And it's called reactive abuse, right? So they do that to try and get power over you. All right. Appreciate you guys jumping on tonight. I'm going to jump back on tomorrow. So if you guys have more questions, please hop on with us tomorrow. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys showing up. Make sure to go to our profile and check out the Anxious to Action Challenge. I'd love to see you guys in there. We answer more questions just like this in that. Thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of your night. DM me if you have any other questions, but thank you guys so much.